They say 1,430 Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Our learning should be as close for Yoshua Eretz Yisrael in their time of tribulation, and for Am Yisrael throughout the world in our time of tribulation. Today we're doing Yordeh Siman Reish Samad Zayin Samad Zayin to Mem Daled. Lamed Zayin. The Cayman Chain King of Rabo, since there is no acquisition for a slave without his master. Therefore, the Rama writes, he can receive a gift from his master. He can receive a gift for another person for his master, and from his master for someone else. Fourth one is astonishing. He can receive from his master for somebody else. It's not going to lead the rishus of his master, the other kiyado. It sounds like they have his master. Mechis can be rabbi shalachar can acquire from his master for someone else. Is that kosvaduto sofer? Therefore, the Mefarshim have written that this is a mistake, a typo. This is what should say the rabbo for his master and from someone else for someone else. That's language of the Yerushalmi. Zoshan Yerushalmi. Pshita she'ev mekabel matana me'acher la'acher me'acher l'rabo. It's obvious that ever can accept a matana from someone else to another person, and for someone else for his master. Rabbo latzmo lo, but from his master to himself, no. That's in the Bach and the Shach, that tikkun. When he said the adrab, on the contrary, says the Shulman Yerushalmi raya lehefech. Yerushalmi is the right in the exact opposite direction, and that the Ramah evidently is correct here. So Yerushalmi, Masik Shalom Yerushalmi says explicitly the Mahani works me Rabbi Acher from his master for somebody else. The Zesha Shenya Be'ervin, that which is said Erevin Shenya Yachol is Kos Erev Zakos Erev Yodo. They can't bestow ownership in an Erev through the Erev. So Rabbi Meir, that's going to Meir V'lo Chachamim, not going to Chachamim. Ayin Shom. Come Dina Dvrei Memes. Nevertheless, no, it's true what they're saying. She'nir Lehedim Yerushalmi Suri Krav Sheish Kedushin. It seems quite clear Yerushalmi also Krav Sheish Kedushin. The Chometz really the Baal Menashe in the Rabbi Roshus Mani, that they give something to a Evet on the condition that his master has no jurisdiction over it is effective. They can see that it's not effective. The only case which they differ is the case when you speculate that he should get reshus in order to go free. In brackets it says here, even Rabbeinu Tam Pasuk Rabbi Meir, who Pasuk Meir that which I guess it's not the way we pass it. In which manner of kinyanim is an Eved acquired by his master? In which manner is he acquired by himself? Meirabo from his master. So he should go free. Rambam writes, Eved Kanani, a non-Jewish slave, its slave nickname is acquired in 5 manners. Because Hashem acquires himself in 3 manners. He has acquired by money, or by star, or by document, or by chazaka, or by seizure, or by chalifin, or by exchange, or by mishicha, or by pulling. The Kodesh Hansen, he can acquire himself by kesef, by money, or by star, or by document, or by rosh evorim, or by the permanent wounding of one of his limbs, heads of his limbs. If I have a katan nickname mishicha, Eved who's a minor can be acquired by pulling in kimshichas bein like you pull an animal. The kuti doesn't make it as requirement when he's still not Jewish altogether. The benkudo we acquire him after Mila and Tefillah. Benchkum kuti is whether you acquire from a non-Jew, only so from a Jew. As long as he has not made that second Tefillah for the purpose of going free. Eved who he's an Eved v'kinyano and he's acquired. Like we wrote. The details are Choshen Mishpat. I have a great question here. When a slave sells himself to his master for money, what's he going to do with the money? Once he becomes a slave, everything belongs to his master. Okay, here's a kinyan says, what kind of acquisition does he have? Now, Shalom, it's possible to say, Be'emes in truth, so the money that he takes for selling himself ain't Rav Kohen. The master does not acquire that money. Normally say the hand of the slave is like the hand of the master, and that which comes with sand, so after himself. That's what she sums up. They acquire themselves with money, etc. As long as money belongs to somebody else. That's because he doesn't have. Everything belongs to the master. Like it's explained there in the entire Sukkah Kedusha, says it's not true. We have a case that he has the money with which he sold himself to the master. But regardless, it's difficult for me. We have a scenario which he had money previously before he was sold as a slave. He had money which he had in his possession before his sale as a slave, regardless of how he was sold, should belong to him. Those funds he had in a Swiss bank account from before the time he sold himself to be a slave. That's his. Mem, without. We should know. Sure, Isi, I saw that proves from the places in Ibam and stuff on Vav. Masham Musham, that which it says there, the Avdi coin should come to have body. The slaves acquired, themselves acquired slaves, or Yochel Mushum, the Ichuma. Custom Shkaras law, they write that it's possible to have such a scenario, but Mafkir Abdo, when you make your Eved Hefker, Shochel Mushuma. Like you need Truma, Ayin Sham. In other words, another way you can't find that Eved can acquire. So I'm not sure exactly the case, I don't remember. You mafkir your slave, in which case he still uses Pachua because it is I guess I'm going to get Shichur. So he himself then has his own monetary jurisdiction, even though he's still, in terms of Yisurim, the Kohen's property, so therefore he can acquire slaves. I think it's the Mahalach there. A low tier to since answer could go and most because that could be talked about case of money before he became a slave. Before he became sold as a slave, because most alien acquired with that money. So must see that the money which he had prior to becoming a slave also belonged to the master. That's in the Shari HaMelech. These words are astonishing. Of the Shari HaMelech. It's actually Shari HaMelech. Anyway, he did most. Okay, he had money. But that's not the issue. How can you acquire avanim? His body is owned by his master. So how can his body independently buy another Eved? But Rashi also requires explanations. Rashi Piresh, Rashi is saying about avanim, slaves have brought slaves, they gave him money on the conditions the master's no jurisdiction on that money. End quote from Rashi. How can you buy from slaves? He has no independent LLC, right? And he can buy slaves. But Rashi works out well. It's simply, it seems. The Bemes came Ataka, slaves of the Adam. The Yad Ebi Yakrabo. The hand of the slave is like the hand of his master. Rashi Mitzayir Shiyochel Yos Dam Mishal Evet. Rashi tried to tell us how it could be that the money belongs to it. But the acquisitions were the masters. And in that's the case, if he acquired even money which he had possessed before becoming a slave, they also belong to his master since he has no independent jurisdiction. But to say that the money which he had prior to becoming a slave belongs to the master, so it's astonishing. Rashi did not depict the scenario in that case, because we don't need this really. In other words, we could have said it was talking about where the money belonged. Money, slave had money before becoming a slave. Could have said. But for the Mishnah we can infer Yesh Kai, you can infer this. The located not Lama Tzarech Lios HaKesher Shalacherim. But you might belong to others. Name Shalom Mos. We call him. Let's say he had money previously. Because the question Mashach Shnikne Bekesef But then how's he acquiring with his own money if the money belongs to the master? So I can go. Okay, it's clear that's not the case. Mishnah must be talking about in majority cases where he was using money which belongs to, he has from the master, so therefore it belongs to the master. Especially a slave who's born in the household, he could never have had an independent bank account. I've had evidence from my position that Avadim who bought Avadim even with their own money belong to the master. Kekos of Rashi Yivam Sham Al Perish Rashi Vedim Azel Shon. Rashi writes, Kirsis Rach, the Kirsis of Rabbeinu Chanano, Avodeh Shkon Avadim. Not sure what difference it makes is. Varashi Gores Vavodav Shkon Avadim. Rashi's Kirsis of Avadav. Perish Nasalo Achem. That's where his somebody gave money for that conditionally. Five Kirsis of Rach and Perish Cain, and they have to say the thing according to the Rach. Okay, I can't show them. For example, if they don't belong to the master, they don't eat truma. That's where they belong to the master. So he says, how is it possible to not belong to the master? That someone else gave him money, in order that he should have no rights then whatsoever personally, only to acquire slaves to serve him personally. So the money is given to the slave in order to buy slaves for his own personal enslavement. So that that's in the brackets. This is a condition like condition you only have what you can put in your mouth. Shama said the Shek knows Ebed knows Ebed Mamish. Shalako Ebed. You can't acquire Ebed to be his. Ebed, Oshia Shaykh Rabba, or should be his master's, which come low, Yaklum, or that he won't have anything, Rakshi Shem Shul, so just that they can serve him. Sham for name is Shubash, who Sham is distorted. Perish Rashman, according to Rashman, it's like we wrote. Not very satisfying. The bracket says here, a slave who bought slaves in the condition that his master not have jurisdiction over them, and he died. According to Misacha, anybody, whoever acquires them first acquires them. It's simple. They were never lost their status slaves. They have to serve this slave. And when they die and this Eved has no Yorshim, called Kodim Zocha. Anybody gets them first acquires them. David Tamoy Yesham is astonishing thing there. Omer, the Eved Orel, Shkon Avodim, it says an Eved who's an Orel, acquired slaves, came and who ain't no Ochel, since he can't eat, Truma, despite the fact that he knows Kohen, and Macher can't feed them, Truma and Shom. Tamar, ain't Eved Elaine Cain Malvat Aval. And become an Eved in the first place if he couldn't do Mila. So much, could be easily biased. That's to be a case where you can't get with because of danger. Even though an Eved can't become an Eved without Mila Tfilah, when he has a compelling reason, he actually didn't Eved come below Mila as the Eved without Mila Beduk. Again, I don't know. Could be talking about Yelin Bias. Even though it's get the Mila, he's still an Eved. Okay, not sure what he does with that. Membase. However, so Eved acquires himself to go out free because of Ushtar with money or with the document of Rosh Varim or with the heads of his limbs. Chalifin, and with an exchange, Yesh Machlekes Kumushis Bar as Machlekes we shall see. But Kesef Ketsa. How's with money? Going to Acher Nasa Kesef, that somebody else getting the money, Rakam Nashi Yitzabel only for the purpose of him going out free. Bench Nasa Eved, whether he gave to Eved, well Amalei said Almanash Shetetzabel Cheres. And he said, on condition that you go out free, ha'adam l'kaba mos, if the master wants to accept the money, yotza ever the ever goes free. If he doesn't want to use a mos, the money goes back to the giver. If ever lo kana shalona san l'rakam nashitz the ever does not acquire the money because they won't give it to him only on the condition to go free. Somebody else give the money directly to the master. From it says, I'm not sure the slave goes free with them. You don't need a das of them, and we assume he's okay with it. The school it's a merit for him. It's not funny. We can do something merit. It's a merit for a person, advantage to that person, even without his explicit consent. Das Rosh I feel about Kochosh Evet. It's a ches. Turn Rosh that even against Eved's will he goes at ches. Avagav the Bishtar is by the area about Kochosh, even though Bishtar it's not the case that he goes out without the Eved's will. Lo time starts comparable to it's not comparable to Shtar. Yeshua is a big state domain. The Gemara gives two instances. A kesef came about Korcho Kunas Atzogan about Korcho, but the money since he can be acquired against his will, so too he can acquire himself against his will, he acquires himself against his will. Say okay. Klamak Shekoina Evid Me'acher knows he could buy ever somebody else. Yocha Acher Mechobal Korcho, the other person can sell him against his will. Votan the Bishlama Bishtar also another reason play star Shacher Mekablim Hashtar Badon other people receive the star on his behalf. Only Malcolm Evan they stand in lieu of the Evan. Ain't come out. They can't be in lieu of him. Share Rotza, he doesn't want. The Share Rotza doesn't want this. He the school slow. Okay, true, it's a merit for him to go out. Kokam Never's came and Chain Rotza. He doesn't want it. So he even advantage to the person against his will. Have a kesa, but money Sharab Makab, which is his owner receives. Ain't Achem Chavin Lo Elaharav. There, the detriment to the slave is not caused by anybody else, but it's caused by the master. For Av the master does not have to be the shliach of the Evan. Also, the Tzorach Hatzah is doing it for his own purpose. When you start from mail, the Evan is automatically free. Come down to the Rifa Rama, nevertheless, the Rifa Rama holding on the Kesef, even Shabar Kocho, you can't release a slave against his will. The slowest Eil Bagman right Meir, all these first come according to Meir, Lo Rabbanon, not according to Rabbanon, Ayin Shom. In brackets says he was Shulchan Aruch, his scheme is Akal Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention this at all, but Tzorchir. Ain't Chiluk bein Kesef, L'shav Kesef, the difference between money and something which is valuable as money. A mashkin ain't a moil, but to give collateral doesn't work, as it does not work in any kiyah. Also by exchange, it goes after him. Yesh lo kli sos b'chalifin. If he has a vessel which he can make an exchange, such as where others gave him a vessel, so that he can use in order to go free. For Amakasav, Khalifin Lamai Rak of Kushibulid. Rama writes that the exchange is not right for work except to eliminate the shibud, eliminate the subjugation. I've loved Kushib not to remove his Isser. Tab Khalifin in terms there's Domin. This is it's really talking about Khalifin exchange, which is given as a barter. I was talking about normally the way we do Khalifin, which is given as a symbolic acquisition, where you give the guy a pen and he gives it back to you. We're not sure. We're not sure if it's like money. Isser, and whether it works in order to eliminate the Isser, the Matana, maybe it works because the Matana given even a stipulation be returned as a gift. That's why Mechivim Lamhani Klal, Rama holds Mechivim does not work at all. Rabbi saying about the Shulchan Aruch Pasuk Das Rabbeinu Tam, the Shulchan Aruch Pasuk Rabbeinu Tam Varosh Ayin Sham. Khalifin is also effective, and that brings us to the end for today.